All right, so I was running really late. Um, I just got out of my short at break even because I didn't like that I was wanting to use this as an inversion, and I didn't like that it was hanging out up here like that for so long. And so when it offered me break even, I just tightened the stop down and just got out of it. I could have potentially been a little more patient. Um, with that break even, like I could have let it go a little further before I tightened it so aggressively, but I really didn't like that it was hanging out up here uh, for so long. And I was aiming for the sell side here. The red line is a daily low, and we really just made equal lows there. So I think it'll come down to that, and it could reach into the this daily for value gap below the market. I almost got in short here. Depending on my fill, that probably would have been break even because whenever this happened, I wanted it to kind of just accelerate quicker than that. So now it's going, now that I got out of it. Just made me really, really uncomfortable that it went up above this inversion. I really just didn't like that it did that. If I would have waited like 10, 15 more seconds before going to break even, then I would still be in it. Um, But since it's so the equal lows down here are concerning, I think it could go down below this. My bias for yesterday, I wanted to try to go for a move up into this daily inversion for value gap and then this bearish one. Um, but I also wanted to keep in mind this low and that we're not actually trading in a discount yet on the daily. Um, this is an actual discount array, and we're still above that. And then there's this equal low here. But it's now Thursday. Um, so I still want to lean for this low probably, but there's a lot of buy slide up in here, and then there's this daily inefficiency. So that might be something to shoot for Friday. Like we'll probably get a move up above these highs here. Bullish SMT on ES at this low. We have equal highs here. I'll try to shoot for this low. And I think it'll dig lower into it. Honestly, we could go down to here. Um, but I'm just going to use the low of the current for value gap we're trading in. My stop is up above the midpoint of first presented. Equal lows right here. We already took buy side here. It's my fill using the midpoint of that daily wick, and I'm shooting for the low of that daily wick. If it's going to be bearish, my stop should be safe because this should be a breakaway gap and it's overlapping the first presented inversion. I want this to behave as an order block, and there's equal lows here, and then the daily equal lows there. And demand, well, okay, I'm going to demand it keeps going, not break even. Right as I was saying that, I dragged my break even down and it had already traded up to my entry. So I had to kind of wait a half second to actually place it. So I was almost 2 seconds too early on that, but it should be good now. I want it to, I would want this to be a breakaway gap and it just run lower. $100 profit is right around 23 and a half, something like that. Soups that internal low. Needs to get real heavy here. Really $100 profit is closer to like 20 and a half. The second we get displacement below this low, I'll go ahead and lock that $100 in. Spending a lot of time here though, it needs to get going. Right now it's holding this wick. Needs to come straight back down at this point. Sweeping internal highs. Okay, that's break even. It's a little annoying. It was very, very close to me tightening that up and locking in $100. Very, very close to it. It's definitely been kind of a challenging morning. It's been kind of back and forth, not having a lot of momentum or follow through in either direction. Of course, it could still go lower, but I need to, you know, protect my capital. I can't just like leave risk on whenever it's moving in my favor. I prefer that I just demand it be really easy, and if it's not going to be really easy, I'll just get out. So, because whenever it breaks below this low here, if it's going to be easy, it just needs to have follow through down to this one. That's pretty obvious. Whenever this down close candle comes back up like that with this wick and it swept internal lows here, the next candle getting in long anywhere inside of this wick would be a good entry because we have these stacked highs right here. So it's pretty obvious we're going to pop up through here. Now that we've souped highs, it could go ahead and go lower. But I think I want to see if it can reach into the first presented. It's really tempting to get in short based off this soup, but they left equal highs here. And I think a much better entry would be if it goes and takes these highs and then trying to get in on the first presented. I think that would be a lot better. It could be that the next 5 minute candle trades up above these equal highs, and then by 10:20, it starts coming down for these lows. It's actually supposed to be buy side. It looks like they're just going to leave that intact here. Definitely high resistance today. We had a really nice move at 7 pre-market, so it makes sense that the morning session would be held for a while. New day opening gap. Sometimes I forget to check the new day gap. I don't know why. Close to open. There. So we went to mid gap closure pretty much immediately. Dang. Market's being real difficult. ES just took this low, which it hadn't all morning, but that's kind of the objective for ES. And so my idea was as ES starts to draw down to that low, in Q accelerate below these lows and towards this. But during this move, ES moved a lot all the way down to that. So, and then NQ hasn't even taken these lows yet. So this is just being held. It's not really behaving. Finally took that low. Dang. So it just traded into a 5 minute breaker as well. Right there, the high of it. Tips this low, and then that is an extremely aggressive move back into the range. Highs here. Happened right at 10:20. Seems pretty obvious it's going to come up to these equal highs. Version for value gap here. Feel like it's pretty obvious it's going to go up for these equal highs. I kind of want to scalp it up there, but I'm just not sure. It's just I probably should have gone long in this. I should have done it. This is actually a 1 minute breaker too, that high there. Those equal highs. This would have been a really easy scalp. I just didn't. It's just been high resistance, and it can be hard to like flip your mindset in the middle. So it's like, I don't know, if I'm expecting all this high resistance and then something really obvious comes in, it's really easy just to not trust it right away because all morning it's been stuck in this range. But the up to these equal highs, it's really obvious. Um, so if, let's just say, I placed an order there with a stop down below there, and then I just targeted the equal highs. It's $95 profit in 2 or 3 minutes. And then just getting out there and not demanding anymore. That's what's obvious. It's not obvious it'll go to high a day, but it's really obvious it's going to go right there. So I could have taken that as a scalp. Um, I could have even squeezed $100 out of it if I was being ambitious. but I just didn't trust it in the moment. But that was extremely obvious. I should have just honestly taken that up to here. That would have been really easy. So earlier, I said right around here that at 10:15, the new 5 minute candle could come up, take the highs, maybe come up to the first presented, and then at 10:20, it come down for these lows. That isn't what happened. At 10:15, it just immediately went lower to the lows. And then at 10:20, exactly at 10:20, it took the lows and then came up for the buy side. So it did the opposite of what I was expecting. And that's pretty typical for high resistance because I said at 10:20 something should happen at 10:20. And the exact opposite happened. I was I was saying that the buy side should get taken first, and then 10:20 would go take the sell side, and the sell side got taken right at 10:20, and it left the buy side, and then at 10:20 went up and took the buy side. So it really did the opposite, and that's pretty typical if it's high resistance because they'll just do, I don't know, they just do everything to um, just whatever you're expecting. It's just weird. I don't really know how to explain it because it almost did what I wanted at the time I wanted. It did go to the sell side. I said it should go there. It's just the order that it did it in was just strange. Um, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's like I almost called this really accurately down to the exact minute that it would happen. Um, it just did it literally did almost the exact opposite, which is also interesting. It's not like it did something drastically unrelated to what I was talking about. It just took the liquidity pools, it took them in the opposite order that I said it should take them in. Um, and then right at 10:20, which is the time that I was expecting something to happen, it went up for the other one. And now it's back down in the range again. And what this is designed to do is to take both sides of the market and generate liquidity um, for smart money. And whenever they're doing this, it's really hard to predict the order that they'll do things, when they'll do something. You can see where the liquidity pools are at, so you know where they're going to go, but knowing the order and time that they'll go to those levels is what is difficult because they can do it at any time they want. I feel like it sounds like if you say, I almost called this exact, but they really did the exact opposite. I feel like that sounds contradictory, but it's really not, because in trading, not very often can somebody like have two options and only two options. Usually people will have like a dozen different ideas of what could happen, or because like another possibility is that it just goes straight up for the high of day. I didn't say that. Another possibility was it could go for the daily lows. I didn't say that either. Um, there's a million things it could have done, and I picked one, and it did the inverse of that one that I picked. So it really was a very close prediction, and it hasn't left the range. It took the two liquidity pools I was looking at, and it hasn't done anything after that. So that is pretty accurate. That is calling the market somewhat accurately in really hard conditions, because most people would have no clue as to what they're going to do, or they would be expecting a breakout, or like whenever this low gets taken, they'd be expecting the daily lows. And because it's high resistance, I'm not necessarily expecting that, because they could keep this here for much longer. Now that it's 10:30, it could loosen up a little bit. But like, let's say like I called these highs first and then these lows. It could have gone up through these highs and then gone to high of day and then gone up to Wednesday's first presented. That wouldn't be the exact opposite of what I said. That would be not even close to what I said. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Um, because they did go to my target. It's just the order they did it in was inversed from what I was expecting. And volatility is really high right now. Uh, this looks like a really tight range, but if I were to measure, let's just say I was going to buy it here and I wanted to stop down here, that's $115 risk. So that's a lot of risk. It's not really, it doesn't look like that wide of a stop loss. but it is because of the volatility on the daily chart. It's expanded recently, probably maybe last week. This same size stop loss in terms of like visual distance between candles, that could have been like $60, $70 risk last week, but now it's 115. So it's high resistance, stuck in a range, and it's accumulating while also being very, very volatile. So it's expensive basically to be trading right now, even just with one contract. And they're just accumulating both sides of the market. They've left a lot of buy side high up above the market. Now it's doing this accumulation near a really key low on the daily chart. Because at this point, that I think what they're doing here is trying to get people to try to buy the bottom, chase the bottom, because they touched the low of that daily low here, right there. They created a sentiment for double bottom support, and now they're accumulating near it. They're accumulating above it and near it. So what that's going to do is retail will see that double bottom, and then every time a high gets broken in here, or maybe even every time a low gets tested, because people will try to buy support down here, like this double bottom support. People will try to buy a breakout right here. Or maybe there isn't a lot of logic to their entry, and they just see the double bottom support on the daily chart. And maybe they're thinking, oh, I missed that entry. Let me just get in anywhere in here with a stop below that low. And so they're spending a lot of time here. And what that does is it offers retail lots of time and opportunity to decide to buy it in here. And then what that does is it generates more sell side below the low. And so what they're probably going to do is they might not hold it here much longer. They've already done it for a while. They could do it up until the lunch session. What they'll probably do is it'll rally at some point. It doesn't need to take high of day, but we'll probably see another rally, and maybe this is the rally that I'm talking about. But we'll see something that looks bullish, kind of as a last, like a last ditch effort to lure buyers in. And then that'll generate more sell side here, and then they'll run against it very quickly below this daily low. And then at that point, I would be really, really bullish, buying below this low somewhere. Or after that low's taken and it comes back up into the range, that's when I would want to be really bullish. But up until that low gets taken, I think all of this is just trying to lure people into buying it. This looks kind of bullish, doesn't it? It's breaking out of this little range again, up to the first presented, and then this order block. Plus, we're not at discounted prices on the daily. So if you look at it from the context of a daily chart, we're at premium, expensive prices. So if I measure this range, I'll just do this. The blue line is, equilibrium. Below the blue line is discount. Anywhere below the blue line, and we're still above it, but we're really close to it. And that low that I was just talking about is very, very close to that blue line, but above it. So I don't really think that's going to hold and actually be a double bottom support. I think they're kind of trying to generate that sentiment for retail. And then this inefficiency here, that is an actual discount. And if we take that low, it's going to trade down to here. So basically, I still want to be leaning bearish right now up until that happens. And they've left a lot of buy side above the market. So I'm kind of getting the feeling that next week could be significantly more bullish than this week's been. Um, and then today, tomorrow, and then maybe Monday and Tuesday of next week, they will basically start accumulating their longs and offloading their shorts. And they're going to offload they're going to accumulate longs below this low, basically. And also offload shorts. But before today, something else that's kind of interesting to think about. Before today, this low on the daily chart was just one low. It's not two lows stacked next to each other. It's not three lows. It's just one single low. There may not have been a lot of buyers there necessarily. There was probably a lot, obviously, but maybe not enough to offload short positions. Because what they'll want to do is offload shorts from up here and accumulate long positions. That's a lot. That's a huge amount of liquidity that's needed to take profit, get to a net sum of 0 contracts, and then flip that into longs below that. That would take a lot of liquidity. And before today, it was just a single low. And now they're creating two lows right there. So I feel like that type of logic just makes a lot of common sense that they're just generating a sentiment to generate more liquidity down here so that they can efficiently get out of their shorts and then flip their positions long. I think that's a good narrative or story to base decision making off of for now. Okay, so we're, bullishly breaking out of this range. Sarcastically. Um, this could be what I was just talking about, where they have that last move higher that looks bullish, and we're trading into first presented now above the buy side here. And yeah, we tipped that low, but not by a lot. Not like just a little bit. This really looks like a soup. It's just about 1050 too. It's tempting to short it here. Plus, if the goal for the week is that low, that daily low, it's Thursday. So they're running out of time to go for that. And Friday, if it doesn't happen today, Friday will likely see a return back up into the weekly range. So they really have 2 days to go take this low. And then Friday would be the day to offload shorts for the week. So that would create a move back up into the weekly range. So I think it would make sense that this low gets taken today. Um, yeah, I think that just makes sense. Ooh, look at that. This is looking real tempting. Really, really tempting to try to short at this point. I really like that. It put a body above the midpoint at first presented, but everything stayed inside of it, and it reached up for the midpoint of the new day gap, touched it to the tick, and then this really aggressive move lower came in. This is looking good to go lower. Now I kind of wish I would have just gotten in first presented. I was calling a move above these highs into first presented at 10:15, and it's almost 11. So almost an hour ago, I was calling that. It just took it that long to offer it. Um, so now I need to figure out how much of a premium is it going to offer short term, because it's probably going to run for these lows pretty quickly. So right now I'm looking at this mitigation block and then this octant on the daily. inefficiency that we're in. And then the stop above this high. And it's not above the high, it's really just above the first presented for value gap. And then there's this up close candle here as an order block. So I think that would be a nice entry if it offers it. Trading into this inversion. And it's 1050. Yeah, I think I like the idea of trying to get in right there. It might not offer it. Just have to see. I like the idea of keying off of this because right now it is a bullish inversion for value gap, but I view that as temporary. So it'd be nice to key off this, offer a premium, and then come down through it bearishly for the lows. Also watching the 5 minute. Here is the 5 minute. So my entry is on this octant, basically. So it's right near the midpoint of this wick, and it would be an immediate rebalance of the 5 minute chart here. But I have a feeling it might not offer it. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, this would be it. So we just use the lower quadrant of the new day gap. There's a small little inversion right there. I'm just now seeing that's overlapping at 85 and a quarter, 85 and a half. So this. All right, so my entry is basically, it would be a mohawk above this to the octant, and then I want to see it close back inside of that inversion, preferably. Yeah, might not offer it. It's kind of I think it's asking for much, for a little too much. See how it mohawked above that and then came straight back down? There are equal highs on the 5 second with this wick and that wick now. Let's see, 5 minute is opening. Yeah, it's iffy. I think it would be a really good entry if it offered it. It might not. Yeah, look at that. That's nice. I kind of wish I would have just used this. I kind of saw it last second. That's a nice move off that. Body close below that midpoint there. Order block here. It's probably not offering that entry. See if I can't get in on the low of the inversion here. I think that would be a nice entry. I think I could get filled here. I think this is reasonable to offer. Um, just kind of stacked highs right here on the 1 minute. On the 5 second, it's really obvious those are stacked. Just tipped these lows, generating buy side here. At 11 o'clock, I want to see it run lower very, very quickly. So that's the open of the new hourly candle. And we're pretty well set up to go lower. We've done everything we need to do. I'm a little annoyed I'm not already in it because I really feel like at some point it's just going to start running lower extremely quickly. I have this feeling I'm not going to get filled. Um, all right, this should be the fill. It should go ahead and run up to my entry. Okay, that's the fill. Preferably, we don't take these highs, and this act as a premium array, and we go lower off that. And the 11 o'clock is opening in 20 seconds, so stop is above the midpoint of the first presented. It would be annoying if it does offer that original entry at this point. That would be a little annoying, but probably will, honestly. The way it's behaving, it probably will go to that octant there. this wick? That should be just about as high as it goes. Wow. Okay. That's a stop out. Hold on. Yeah, that was insane. That was an $82 loss. I have a feeling this is a Judas. I don't think anything has changed. That was crazy fast. Crazy, crazy, crazy fast. ES just took high of day, so this bearish S&T on in Q. Trying to get that the midpoint of the new day gap here. Come on. Oh, I'm going to be annoyed if that doesn't fill. I think this is going to run straight back down. I got like a point away from that fill. Could still offer it. Okay, that's the fill. So ES already took these highs. There's bearish S&T. Basically in near the high of the first presented. See, let me annotate this real quick. That's a 5-minute wick. Consequence encroachment. So we traded up to this 5-minute wick midpoint here. Coming back down really nicely. And my target is these lows. In best case, I'm going to shoot for the low of the for value gap we're trading into. So what? I need to buy with a limit, right? That's my target. There you go. All right. That's beautiful. That was Phil coming in and taking this high. That probably shouldn't have happened, but I just rolled with it and got back in up there. I'm going to go ahead and go to break even, obviously. Okay. Uh, Yeah, this should run lower extremely quick. I mean, that's really nice. That move back down. This gap should stay open, obviously. It should use this inversion and run the lows really, really quickly. Let me measure out where my profit target should be real quick on my other monitor. I'm in just about right there. So $100 profit is at 83 even, basically. 83, just about there. So that will cover my loss plus 20 bucks extra. Uh, don't want to go there yet, obviously. I'll be patient because I think this could really run lower. Should be low resistance from here on out. It should become pretty easy. CS doing. Hmm. I'm gonna say when there's a lot to consider because I want to lock in profit and mitigate that loss, but I also need to give it room to go to my full target because I'm very confident in my full target. Um, Maybe when it takes this low, I'll go to break even. I think certainly when it takes this low, I will go to break even because then this should be a breaker and it shouldn't go past that. So there's that first low taken. It's up about 150. Realistically, it shouldn't come back up to this yellow line at this point. It should really just run straight lower. Um, but timing is important, so I want to be patient before I pull that stop down. So I want to see just a tiny move up here and then move lower because a new 5-minute candle just opened. And this down close candle, I want this inefficiency to stay open, and this needs to be a breakaway gap. So really, this candle should just have continuation lower. I think 100 and how much am I down? Well, what was that loss? It was, why isn't it coming up here? Refresh. Okay, so it was a $90 loss. If I can lock in 190, that would be nice because that would erase the loss plus 100 bucks. So 190 is just about at 39 and a half, we'll call it. 39 and a half, just about there. That is 190. So that low's been taken. I'm gonna go ahead and lock in $100. So erase that loss from before. Now I want this to become a reclaimed bearish for value gap. And then my current take profit or my stop loss is above the midpoint of that 5-minute breakaway gap. So that should be good if it's going to remain weak. Hopefully it does. And then this yellow line would be an amazing place to get to with the stop because then I'm up $100 on the day. So right now I'm up maybe 15, 20 bucks because of that loss. I have to manage it like this though, because if I had multiple contracts, I would be selling, or I guess I'd be buying one here. I'd be taking a partial profit. But because I only have the one contract, I just need to use the stop loss as that take profit. So whenever lows get taken like this, I need to lock in something. Um, and I am being patient because I didn't do it at this low. I did it at the next low here. So really, this just needs to stay heavy. And well, I'm just going to use, so this should be a breaker here. So it should not go above that midpoint. That black line should stay pretty heavy below that. We're outside of macro now, so hopefully it doesn't tag me. It might tag me. That 5 minutes misbehaving a little bit. All right, so I'm out break even there. Unfortunate. That's okay. I guess not break even. I made $100 on that, so I mitigated that loss. So I'm up 20 bucks. It's annoying that that snapped up like that. That was clearly manipulation. It shouldn't have done that. But I like that I got back in. I just, sometimes you just have to roll with that stuff, and it's just offering a higher premium. So I got back in up there. Stop me to the tick, by the way. To the tick. That's annoying. I got filled at 83 even, and this high is 83 even. So that's really annoying. If it runs lower from there, that's just gonna suck. But I could get back in, obviously, for continuation. was a really nice move from here to there. That was awesome. I mean, it's still doing good. I got stopped to the tick. I'm one of the only people to get out there, so that's just kind of unfortunate. I would like to get back in and target the AM session low of day and ultimately this low. Um, I want to get in up here, but it might not offer that. That's a 5 minute breakaway above this. I mean, to the tick. That's so annoying. But I can't not lock in profit. Like, I can't. Like, especially after that loss, I need to mitigate that. Okay, so the 5 minute breaker, it's these two down close candles combined, basically. That's the 5 minute breaker. Hmm. So annoying. It might not offer this, honestly. I mean, it hasn't done anything wrong. It's just unfortunate that I got stopped to the tick right there. It didn't take this high out, it didn't reach the inversion. Like, it's still very weak. So it's just unfortunate that that happened. It hasn't really done anything to changed my mind about this low. I want to get back in. I was wanting to try to get in up here, but it just might not offer that. Um, but that's what I have to figure out. Like, I don't have enough experience to know that it's not going to go up here. I think it could, but I also think it doesn't have to. And now it's coming back down for these lows after stopping me to the tick. So that sucks. Maybe I should have waited for the 1 minute to offer a premium like that. Because there wasn't any sort of retracement on the 1 minute up until here. So maybe I should have waited for that. Because this wasn't much of it's a very small retracement. Um, yeah. See, this is one of those situations where if I was trading more than one contract, I'm not getting stopped there. I would be selling one here, or I guess buying one here, getting out here for a partial profit, and my stop loss would still be up here at break even. So this is one of those situations where like the trade is still playing out, but because of the way I have to manage my profit, um, it's just unfortunate. Like nothing wrong has happened. Nothing was mismanaged. Like I don't think this is mismanagement either because Phil decided to come here and stop me out. So I lost $80, really $90. So I get back in up here, which is good. And whenever it takes out two lows like that, I feel obligated to go ahead and mitigate that loss. I guess I could have just locked in $90 because then it's like break even and I'd still be in it. But that's kind of just hindsight. I think. I don't know. I'm still up on the week, so it's not like I have to like capture this move down to here. It would just be nice because I know it's going to go there. Hmm. Hmm. It, this really sucks, honestly. I'm honestly really annoyed that it touched my stop to the tick, filled me. It didn't have to fill me, by the way. Like, if it's just touching it, like the spread doesn't have to fill me, but it did. And then it is now going straight down. So that's just, I mean, let's see. This is how hard trading is. It would be up $250 So one tick of difference is a $250 swing in your account. And it's not even a loss. Like it was profit. But like that's just how small of a discrepancy, I guess, is required to change what would have been a very, very large profit, like $250 profit. And my full target, I don't even know what it was. My full target would be $430 profit. So it could be that that one tick of difference could be the difference from $430 profit and $100 profit and being break even on the day. I'm up $20, but that's basically break even. So it's very annoying. And at this point, I just don't feel comfortable getting back in again because low of day's been taken, and preferably I'm just positioned up here where Phil got positioned, and I'm just up profit and at break even, and it doesn't matter. But after the low here gets taken, um, I just feel a little less confident, like getting back in short. Just about lunch macro, which is interesting. Don't really know what the draw would be for lunch macro. This is really, really. I mean, if I put this on a 5 minute chart, it almost looks untradeable. This is crazy, crazy held. Uh, it loosened up. I said at 10:30 it could loosen up, and that's basically when it loosened up. Um, I don't know. There's equal highs here. I feel like that's the most obvious kind of thing for the lunch macro to draw to. But I want to see this low, so I don't really know. 10 o'clock, there isn't really any liquidity after 10 o'clock that hasn't already been taken, other than, I guess, this. And then, like, the equal high, like, near high of day. But on the daily chart, I'm wanting to see this low. So I don't really know what it's going to do. Guess that's not really a breaker, is it? Because it didn't take liquidity. If anything, it's a mitigation block. This is an order block, though, here, which I believe it's holding. Yep. So this would be the spot to get in short if you wanted to try to catch continuation. An immediate rebalance here doesn't seem too bad to me. Look at it run. Goodness. It's not, yeah, okay. It's not going to immediate rebalance. It's too deep. I guess it could. I wouldn't want it to, though. Not really. It should just be a breakaway gap and it should just, like, run to the low. Realistically. So I guess the mitigation block probably be the entry or this Wix midpoint. I just don't know. So now there's this inefficiency here. I'm really tempted to place this order because we're in lunch macro, but I think the draw is down here. I think that is the draw. Um, there isn't really 10 o'clock other than this, but I don't think it's time to go there yet. That wouldn't have filled me anyway. Let's draw this out. Yeah, no, that would not have filled me had I placed it. still come up to there. I just don't know whether or not to place the order. I really don't. I'll place the order. I think now that we've got bodies below the low of day here of the AM session, I really feel like it should just run for that low. We're in this lunch macro. There's a nice efficiency here. That's the fill. And I'm going to demand immediate run lower. Going to break even. At break even, it's that easy. Just going to demand that it go. If it stops me at break even, I'm just going to be done. There's the break even. I'm done. So I'm done. Maybe that's a mistake. I don't know. It's just that happened in about 1 second. I was watching the 5 second chart. Here it is. Here it is. Maybe I was just too quick to do that. I was watching the 5 second chart and I was just looking at something on the 5 second, and then I thought, oh yeah, it should just keep going. And then in 1 second, it snapped. Like it could have been less than a second. It snapped up to my break even, and then there's the run. So it's running. Like I'm right on that. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if I had waited like 2 more seconds, I would still be in it. Um, it's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird. There's a good entry. I mean, I'm trading well technically. I mean, that's great. That's great. I mean, it's a 1 second difference. It was a 1 tick difference up here, and this was a 1 second difference here. Literally. Like, you can't make it up. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Um, I was probably being too demanding here. I mean, I should have given it like a little more time, probably. But I don't know. It's so annoying because I'm looking at the 5 second, and it's a 5 second chart. There is no. I'm going to go to a 1 second chart. I would love to just see. I want to look at this. Where did I get filled? Let's see. All right, I got filled at 11 and a half. 11. This high. Okay. It's moving a little too fast. I can't look at it. Basically, what's the high of this? 12. So I got stopped by 2 ticks. 2 ticks this time instead of one. And looking at a 1 second chart, it probably spent a quarter of a second at that break even, and then it immediately ran lower. Immediately. So, I mean, literally, we're talking 2 ticks, fractions of a second difference. If I had waited a half second longer to place that, I would still be in it for profit. So, which is fine. I mean, that's probably the closest you can get to trading with no risk. I mean, probably. I mean, I don't know. I got stop break even, but there wasn't really. It was $60 risk for about 30 seconds. And then it was I mean, literally a 1 second difference, maybe less than that. Had I tightened the stop just a little bit later, I'd still be in it for profit. So probably gonna wait here until that low gets taken because I think it's gonna happen. And I'm really curious if it doesn't come back up to here, that break even that I just got out at. I'm really curious to see if that trade works out had I waited a quarter of a second longer. This candle or the next candle, I think. Spent enough time chilling here. I I'm definitely going to take a break after this low gets hit. Been here a really long time. I was on the fence about getting in here. I finally decided to do it because the bodies were closing below this low. And I was viewing this. I was watching this range, and I was thinking, well, if it's going to be trading below that low, and it's not just sweeping it, if it's actually going to move below that low, um, then I was eyeballing it in my head, just envisioning it that like the projected range. So this is the range we've been trading in. If we were to project that forward, it would put it down below this low. That 1.5 projection is right at the low of the daily for value gap. And I figured it'll probably reach for something in here. Plus that low is right there. So that's what gave me the confidence to go ahead and get in here. I'm definitely not getting in it now. It's too deep in discount. That was another reason I was skeptical, was because uh, this was pretty deep in discount. But then also, it's like if this is the draw, and this isn't even necessarily the draw, I think it'll reach through that. And I think this for value gap down here is likely where it'll go to. If I were to measure this out down to that level, and I'm gonna make this yellow so it's obvious. This yellow line would be equilibrium of that high, and then my target, which is the daily for value gap. So if we're above this yellow line, we're technically still in a premium. And so that's what I was also kind of viewing. Uh, I was viewing this as not necessarily in discount because I think the draw is this for value gap. Um, and this inefficiency is anchored to equilibrium. So this is a premium array here, technically, if that is the draw. So that's why I decided to go ahead and take that. But it's pushing it. It's definitely pushing it. It's pretty... This is the last place you could get in, realistically, without chasing it. I'd still be in it. I got out at... Wait, where did I get out? Let me check again. 11.5. So as long as it doesn't touch 11.5, I'd still be in it. So yeah, we'd be good still. I'm just curious. Kind of just paper trading it at this point, pretending if I was still in it, does it pan out? And as long as it doesn't touch 11.5, I'd still be in it. Right there. What's the low of that breaker? Is that right? Yeah, that's right. We're in macro now, so because this is technically equilibrium here, because I'm targeting the high of that daily inefficiency, if that's the draw. Um, there could be a soup in here. Okay, so that would be break even. That makes me feel a little better. Would have been break even either way, unless I decided to just take it down here. Which I'm also curious. Let's just see. Would have moved about 80 bucks in my direction. Interesting. So we have these highs. I'm going to clean up the chart a bit. Because right now I'm trying to figure out what the lunch macro wants to do. Um, I still like this low. This could easily just be a soup because we're at equilibrium. And usually there's a consolidation and then uh, a soup. It'll sweep some high and then go ahead and continue down to the full draw. So it could be a soup, but I think the most realistic, like 10 o'clock, like after 10 o'clock liquidity and then lunch macro draw would be these highs. That's like the only thing that really stands out to me. Other than high of day, like equal highs, but I don't think I'm not considering that right now, like at all. So, Swick. This could technically be an entry actually, because it's back up into premium. This is a premium array, and we souped this high here. And so far, the bodies have stayed inside the inefficiency and reached up to this wick, and then came back down. There's a little tiny low right here. I believe there's a minor sell side right there. Equal lows. These bodies here look really smooth. I feel like it could come up and tip those, and then maybe respect the rejection block here. Uh, Red. But it is also holding this wick. This could be offering a nice short, I think. So we're in lunch macro, and it's come back up into premium. But I need to figure out, is it running for these equal highs here? Or is it just offering one last premium before going down to the draw here? Swept these highs out, staying below the midpoint of the wick. Really interesting. Trading into a 5-minute order block. Just touched the midpoint. Throw that down there. This is definitely intriguing. Shooting for an entry inside this wick here. The expectation that it'll come down below this low. And my full target are the lows, low down here. Don't want this to be an inversion. Just went to the midpoint there. Five-minute candles opening here. Just traded up to this 1-minute order block right there. That's a nice reaction back down. I want to see this low. Let's see. I really want to see some follow through there. Really tempted to get out. I don't like that it came back up like that. If it comes back down into this wick, I'm going to go to break even. I want to give it a chance. Come on. All right, I'm being demanding. I'm probably getting stop break even. I'm just demanding it run lower. It's taking too much time here. I'm inside a 5-second breakaway gap. That's the idea. Okay, I'm out break even. See, I really like this candle. It came up to the order block, the 1-minute order block. It's working all these premium levels really nicely. Touches that, snaps back down. It was looking really good, but then it held this inversion for value gap. And all the bodies are staying in the upper half, and that's bullish. So I'm happy getting out break even there. And now look at this. So just it isn't behaving. It's okay that it's accumulating this little bull flag here, but the idea is that this will be uh, manipulation and accumulation of shorts. And so when this wick comes in, I like the idea that it tipped the highs. Now I want to see the low. So I get in on that wick. And then right at 12 o'clock, we get another little Judas higher to the order block. It comes back down. At that point, you need to see continuation. But it snapped back up in the range. So I'm happy getting out break even there. And obviously that was a good decision because now it would be going against me right now. The initial idea was this rejection block, these little equal highs here with the bodies, and then respecting the rejection block there. That was the original idea. So far, that's being respected. Hmm. This would be an interesting place to get in short as well. Measuring risk. Yeah, whenever this candle is trading up, because this was going to be an inefficiency, but then it filled it in. So that really should have been a breakaway gap, and we see follow through. Whenever it fills it in, that's a nice signature. Any move up into this up close candle would be a nice short. And it moved down to this internal low here. I want to see follow through. I don't really know how I feel about it coming back up again. Of course, it could still be good, but trading up into a 5-minute wick now, actually, that's interesting. That's actually really interesting. I didn't realize a new 5-minute candle opened. So that kind of makes it permissible that this trade up like that because it's reaching for this 5-minute wick. So that's actually fine. So my original entry would be okay because I had it above this high with the idea of my stop loss being protected by the rejection block here. And so technically it would be playing out, but that would be a lot of drawdown, so I'm still okay getting out break even there. Getting in right here, I think, would have been good too. But at this point, you want to see follow through. You want to see it start heading lower. This is a lot of work done in here. So there's this large wick, and then the high of this inefficiency. That would be an interesting place to try to get in. But I think really, I just want to see it head lower now. And there's an order block here too. So there's lots of things here. I'll try this one more time. That's the fill. There's no internal manipulation yet, and I would expect that before seeing higher prices. I want this inefficiency to be filled in on this candle, preferably. Just to fill in that inefficiency. I don't like that. I don't like that wick that came in last second. Really don't. Really don't like that. That was looking good, and then literally last second it snapped back up. Damn. I don't know. Good. If it can overcome this up close candle, that would be positive. If it came back down below here. Needs to get heavy. This is looking positive, but it needs to stay heavy. I don't want to see it snap back up like this other candle did. All right, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go to break even. Just going to keep being demanding. Going to keep doing it until it behaves. This is my last one for sure. For sure, my last one. When this trade is over, I'm taking a break. This is nice buy side generated here. Um, maybe for 12:30 potentially. That would be really nice for lunch macro. Come on, take out the slow right there. Or maybe even the PM session, but we'll see. Since the body closed below the midpoint here and that low is really close, this needs to be a breakaway gap. I want to see continuation, and it should just use the lower portion here. That's a very tiny little 1 minute candle, isn't it? It's very strange. Do 5 minute just opened. That I need to look at that. Yeah, I'm fine being break even. It should just go lower if it's going to be weak. It doesn't need to come stop me out. It really doesn't need to. Does not need to do it. 5 second breaker it's trading into as well, so should just run lower. I like this to be the second stage distribution and it run for that daily low really quickly. Um, it's done a lot of accumulating and kind of resting in here. Really want this to be a breakaway gap. It's already shown it doesn't need to come stop me. It reached in and came back down, so You'd think it would want to reach for a discount before 12:30. All right, that's my break even. Because it generated the buy side here and it's still pretty close to it. And if 12:30 is going to run that buy side, you'd think it would want to reach for a discount before doing that. But I'm done. I'm not going to wait for this low. I'm tired. It's being real challenging in here. I don't care if it runs. It's fine. I've had like, I don't know, 5 break evens today. So, and I'm up $21. So it's definitely not easy in here. I'm curious if this runs though. I'm definitely done trading. I'm locking my platform and I'm done. I do kind of want to see if this starts doing something. Switching this to paper. I'm done. Tired. I'm getting off. I'm exhausted. But this was a nice move down. It's unfortunate Phil stopped me. He didn't have to do that, but he did. Got back in up here, wrote it down, got stopped to the tick for $100 profit. That mitigated that first loss plus extra. And then all this happened in here and I really did. Getting short in this premium of this range here, trying to shoot for that daily low, but it's just not having it. It's really not. Um, I think I'm happy with all my entries, even the ones that I was kind of iffy on. I think they were good. This last one might be the weakest entry out of all of them, but it still afforded me break even. And really, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just uh, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards the buy side at this point. If it was going to run for that daily low, I feel like it would have a little more willingness to do so here because this buy side's here and here. I think 12:30 might go run that. If it runs it before 12:30, I think it might come back down. But I am definitely going to get off for a while, take a break.